everybody, welcome to part 2 of a Doctor Who Veteran Rewatches Series 1. Getting this up has been a little bit of a nightmare. I had it uploaded, the quality was terrible, had to delete it, and I'm having to do this all over again just to fix that. So my phone is like burning at the minute, but I'm going to try and still get it out today, so we'll see. Let me know if it actually does get up today. It's Wednesday, hoping for Wednesday. Anyway, this is part 2. I didn't say this in the previous video, but if you're impatient and you want to watch my full reaction to all of Series 1, it is on my TikTok at erincurran98. You can find all of my reactions to Series 1 there, and I've actually reacted to Christmas Invasion too, so I've technically started Series 2 as well. So we'll see how that goes. Anyway, I'll stop talking. Let's get into the rewatch.
Because I'm a colossal nerd, I want to do a quick when did we last see the Daleks before I go on to do my rewatch of Dalek in Series 1. The last time the audience saw the Daleks was in this episode, Remembrance of the Daleks. It was in Sylvester McCoy's era, as you can clearly see. His companion was Sophie Aldred. And this was the last time the audience saw the Daleks. I'm not talking about the audio stories or any of the books that released once the show was cancelled. Remembrance of the Daleks is one of my favourites. It's one of the first that I ever saw when I was a little kid. It's the first time a Dalek flew up the stairs. We see Davros here in a second. And basically what happens here is that Sylvester McCoy's doctor basically sends a piece of Time Lord technology called the Hand of Omega to Scarrow and destroys it. So basically the last time we saw the Daleks as viewers, as an audience, the Doctor destroyed Scarrow, the Daleks' home planet. And it is pretty evident that Davros escapes because he uses an escape pod. He basically does what he always does and dips on the Daleks. There's Ace there, my favourite companion to ever be on the show, but we won't get into that because I could talk about it for ages. So it is also implied once this episode happens, the Time War happens, and the Daleks and the Time Lords go to war with each other, and basically both are supposed to have gotten destroyed in the crossfire. That's what the Doctor believes whenever he takes Rose with him to travel. He thinks that both the Daleks and the Time Lords have been destroyed in the crosshairs of the war. So, and the Daleks didn't have a planet to go back to because this happens. And that is why it is so emotional whenever the Doctor finds out that the Daleks did survive. I'm sure you know this part, but because I'm a big massive nerd, Remembrance of the Daleks is one of my favourite episodes. It's not my absolute fave, but I can recite it pretty much off by heart because I've watched it so much, and like I say, because I'm a colossal nerd, I wanted to kind of do this is what happened, this is the last time the audience saw the Daleks before the reboot happened, and why it was such a big deal for the audiences to see them again. So, yeah. Sorry, I had to pause for that part. But we'll get into the Doctor Who rewatch of Dalek now in a minute. I just wanted to do this kind of like, this is where we last saw them, or kind of like a last time on Doctor Who kind of thing. We're about to start my rewatch of episode 6, Darlix. I did a video before this one about when the last time we saw the Daleks was. If you're interested in that, it'll be the video before this one. And I just got a preface. I don't know how many parts this one will be because I find this episode very emotional, personally, as someone who watched the classic era. Not all of the classic era, I'm not going to say, because I haven't watched all of it, but I was very heavily involved in the classic era before the reboot. So this episode was very emotional for me because obviously the Daleks are a big deal in Doctor Who, so I don't know how many parts this will be, but I guess we'll see as we go along. Oh my god, every time... That's 10 years ago, and that's in the future for them right now. Like, I feel the exact same kind of horror when I watch Fear Her, because it's based in 2012. Like, it hurts, it's painful. Oh, to say I near choked when I first saw this head, when this first aired, I inhaled. I thought we were gonna get Daleks and Cybermen a bit too early when this happened. It's just the Ninth Doctor's MO, just to smile at guns and hope they don't shoot. Episode 6, Dalek, let's go. Bad Wolf 1 descending. Sorry for that accent, I don't know why I did that. I'm sorry! It really winds me up when people think David Tennant's Doctor said that first, because it's just like, he didn't, Henry Van Staten said it. I mean, Henry Van Staten's a dick and you can steal his jokes all you want, but still. Just seeing the Dalek getting tortured there actually reminds me that this episode Dalek is based on an audiobook called Jubilee, written by Robert Sherman, the same man who wrote this episode. And when you listen to Jubilee, you can see the similarities. Well, technically, when you watch this, you can see the similarities to Jubilee because Jubilee was written first. It's a lot more dark. It's a lot darker Jubilee, in my opinion. But it was just seeing the Dalek getting tortured there just reminded me, because there's torture scenes in Jubilee as well. So definitely, if you're into audiobooks, definitely check out Jubilee as well, because if you like Dalek, you'll like it. You'll like Jubilee as well. And look at this dick having a painting of himself in his office. Oh, it looks like something you'd get out of a Doctor Who Adventures magazine. Oh. People sort of use this as a tell me again why you don't like Rose Tyler, and I could go into a whole thing about, it's not that I don't like her, I'm gonna have to continue this in part 2. It's not, I just don't understand why people use this scene of tell me again why you don't like Rose Tyler, because I could give you a list of things that Rose has done wrong that she gets a pass for. It's not necessarily that I don't like her, but she's so hyped up and overrated that her behaviour gets a pass, whereas Martha, for example, gets criticised for every little thing that she does wrong, whereas Rose is calls a girl fat in the future of this series. She implies a girl is thick. She's very rude and catty, particularly when David Tennant comes in. And yet whenever Martha is catty about Rose, and she's only, I wouldn't even say she's catty about Rose, I'd say she gets a bit jealous, and the way the Doctor behaves, I think it's pretty fair that she gets jealous. Yet whenever Rose does it, it gets a pass, and when Martha does it, it's, oh, she's the nastiest POS companion that's ever happened to the show. And that's more of my problem with Rose, and it's really more of the audience and the fans doing that than Rose's characterization herself. It's the fans who have made me not like Rose as much as I should, but that's my reasoning, because I see that pop up all the time, this whole she's gonna smack you if you call her she, then people are like, tell me again why I don't like Rose, and it's like, I could, I just don't think you're ready to hear it. I think this guy is like Doctor Who's unintentional prediction of Elon Musk. Like, I don't know a lot about Elon Musk, but it kind of fits the bill, the whole space aliens rich man thing. I can't with this upcoming scene. Like, I could very easily just record this entire scene, because Christopher Eccleston, he puts his all into this coming up. And this is coming from a man who wasn't really into Doctor Who before he was hired. He's admitted this before, and yet he was somehow still able, as a fantastic actor in my opinion, to be able to portray the Doctor's horror, his shock, his upset, his anger, and like, I could very easily just record this whole scene, but I'm not gonna do that because I can't. Oh. Look, Whew. You also very much get an insight here into the darkness that resides in the Doctor, particularly here when he realises it can't shoot him. You know, the darkness from the war that Rose then fixes and helps him get over. Like, you very much see the madness, like the kind of PTSD from the war showing itself here. Oh, I know I said I wasn't going to record it, but it, like, just without saying anything, but it's just so good. What a shot we have here. Like, I would have that as a poster. Just like the Dalek in the background and the Doctor in the foreground. Like, I'd have that on my wall if I could. They really did the Time Lords dirty with how they handle them in the future. You're not smart enough not to get a fucking hole in your head in the future. Can't be that smart. Again, this is the Rose that I enjoy. This is the Rose that I like. The Rose who cares. Just the thought of Davros and Vinstatin getting along is insane. I didn't understand when I was little. I was just like, what? That's not a big deal. I didn't realize that the cold is actually, you can't, like, cure it. Because, like, I'm not going to be, like, scientific here because I don't know for sure. But, like, the bacteria mutates or something, so you can't absolutely cure it. Isn't that what it is? Or something like that? If he could do that, why didn't he go down and see it sooner? He's not that smart. He's not a genius. There's nothing going on in Adam's head. The power of this episode is that it makes me feel sad for an effing Dalek. Like, what? Like, why am I welling up right now? For God's sake, you know, I even know what he goes and does to everybody. Another reason why I would be, maybe in this instant, a good companion, I wouldn't have touched him. Like, I'd feel bad, but I wouldn't touch him. And this is when you start going, oh no, oh shit, fuck, I shouldn't be swearing, but, oh, you could just tell, oh my god. Oh, such a good line. The fact that they're just standing there frustrates me later when Rose gets locked out. Like, at least Adam and Rose should have gotten a head start at this point. The people with the guns, yeah, maybe try and shoot it down, but they should have been gone! I remember my mum, when we were watching this for the first time, she was like, oh, he looks lovely now! I was like, Mum, like, that's not the point! Oh. It's just pointless. Like, they're holding him back, but it was that moment that you realise there's no chance. Another thing my mum said that was kind of, I say inappropriate, she sort of goes, oh, he's some pup, isn't he? Which is, I don't know if it's a Northern Irish saying or if it's a UK saying, but it basically means, oh, he's pretty fantastic, isn't he? He's doing well. Like, my mum wasn't a huge Doctor Who fan, so she was watching it kind of as part of family time, so she would, like, make these comments and it would be like, Mum, you're missing the point. In Remembrance of the Daleks, the last story we visually saw the Daleks in before now, it's mentioned that one of the people that the Dalek killed, like, scrambled his insides. That's what the gun did, and I don't know if it's ever been disputed that other Daleks do that, but can you imagine your inside being scrambled like someone shoved a whisk in? It sounds vile. This is another fantastic reference to Remembrance of the Daleks, because it was the first episode where the Daleks actually flew up the stairs, because before that everyone was like, oh, I could beat Daleks, I could run up the stairs. And then Remembrance was just like, nah, bitch, can't do that anymore. Demanding you surrender, is that clear? The way he just stared. Oh. 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 And this, again, they should have started running. Rose would have had no problem if they had have just ran at that point, instead of standing staring like friggin' gormless apes. It's like, it's so interesting because it's like, the Daleks, like, it's just the way they're made, it's the way their brains are, like, wired. That's why when Rose's genetics interfere, it starts to have this crisis, because Rose's genetics are different from what the Daleks were created to be. And it's just really interesting to me, because the Daleks are just doing what it genuinely believes should happen. Again, they stand there gawping. They could have gotten so far ahead if they hadn't stood there gawping. How to wipe out a bunch of humans in 0.5 seconds. The way she looks at him, like, are you seriously still talking? The funny thing here is that he's been searching the internet for the Daleks, and this is 2012. So by this point, Planets of the Sky would have happened, you know, the Dalek invasion, and yet he hasn't found anything. That's the complicated thing about doing stuff in the future and stuff like that, and not knowing what they're going to write, you know what I mean?
If you want all of this, follow this one. Kill yourself.
God damn.
The Daleks have failed. Why don't you finish the job and make the Daleks extinct? Rid the universe of your filth. Why don't you just die?
Christopher Eccleston, man.
You would make a good Dalek.
Oh. I am 100% with Rose here. I am a slow bitch. Like, I've never won a race in my life that wasn't rigged. So, I'd be dead. Unless I was the one who touched the Dalek, and then it would be alright. But I'd still be left behind. I'd still be gone. Oh god. Oh god. Can you imagine seeing that round in the corner?
It wasn't your fault. Okay? It wasn't your fault.
God, if you hear me sniffling, it's because I'm welling up a bit. Nothing makes me well up more in nearly every episode than Series 1 Doctor Who. That's also a good nod to the first episode Dalek, because there's a scene where, like, the Dalek's eye stalk is, like, you can see how it's viewing Barbara, and it pushes her against the wall, so that's another really good nod to the classic era. Oh, oof.
I wanted to help you. I don't know. I was trying to help. I thought if we could get through you, if we could mend you, I wanted you better. I'm sorry.
Ugh.
I'm so sorry.
Van Staten is just a big wet cloth. Bill Piper has a lovely profile. I just noticed that there now.
What are you changing into?
I wasn't.
Oh.
I don't know.
Oh. Sorry, guys. When this episode ended, when I was a kid, I was about 6 or 7. I was crying. I wasn't necessarily sobbing, and I lied to my mum and dad and said I wasn't feeling well because I didn't want them to know that I was crying for a Dalek. Sorry, I didn't want them to know I was crying for a Dalek. I was embarrassed about it, but now I'm just living for it. I'm crying. You're supposed to feel sad. I get it.
And by tonight, Henry Van Staten will be a homeless, brainless junkie living on the streets of San Diego, Seattle, Sacramento. Someplace beginning fast.
And that's queen shit right there. Oh, I wish that were true.
Thanks to your people did too.
Not if they're disguised by a watch and not on Earth at the minute. Oh, we gotta take this loser with us, unfortunately, but at least it's only for one episode.
Time to go and stand outside then.
Best. Okay, we're back with the Doctor Who reactions. I was kind of putting off doing this one because even though I love season 1, Adam's just a pain in the neck, so I've been kind of avoiding it.
So, it's 200 pounds and it's a spaceship. No, 1 minute space station and go try that gate over there. Off you go. 200,000.
Missed this dynamic.
Oh my god.
Don't worry, you'll get used to it.
Where are we?
Good question. I see. So, judging by the architecture, I'd say we're around
You see,
100,000.
the Doctor had to tell her this because she has to learn and grow as a companion. I feel like
Space station?
part of the problem in modern Who is that... Now, I can't speak for Jodie's era. I'm talking definitely more in Clara's sense. It's like they wanted the companion to have more of a know-it-all kind of thing. Like, oh, I already know this kind of thing. And there was no, like, growing. But then I can't speak for it for certain. Remember that whole if I was a companion thing? Yeah, that's the only thing I relate to with Adam. That's the only thing. The the long game. Let's go. The space station isn't talked about enough as the common reoccurring theme of the series because people are too focused with Bad Wolf, as they should. Bad Wolf is a great plotline. But this space station, platform 5 is it? I can't remember. It's another thing that reoccurs through the series and comes up. It was in the End of the World, it's in this, and then it comes up again at the end. It's another theme that reoccurs through the series, but it doesn't get talked about as much because, obviously, the Bad Wolf resolution, which is epic, but you know what I mean. Our budget couldn't afford it. I would be doing this all the time. All the time. We went to Paris in 2018 and all of these things happened. Like, all of them. Satellite 5, I was saying Platform 5, the new 5 was in there somewhere. I love both of these women. Like, she is a badass. And the other girl's a badass too. Sorry, I can't remember their names, it's been so long. But obviously, justice for her, because we know what happens to her. But both of them, side characters, man. Side characters in Series 1. According to the audio stories, that's not the first time Jack's been pregnant or had a child. Simon Pegg! I love Simon Pegg. It just said that there's like a self-cleaning table system, and it's sad that I can see that coming. Like, people are so lazy that I can see it coming where there has to be a self-cleaning table system. Although I might be interpreting it wrong, like, I'm thinking the tables clean themselves, maybe it means that you have to clean your table, but I can also see a world where the tables have to clean themselves. I like how they make you think that he's talking about, like, the Doctor and Rose and Adam, and he's really talking about the other woman. 2005, Doctor Who was surprisingly ahead of its time, but then it was written by Russell, or it was overseen at least by Russell T Davies, so that's not surprising. Beyond bias? I doubt it. Suki, your name's Suki. Justice for Suki, man. Adam sees this shit, and he thinks, yeah, I'll have that. Like, who in their right mind? Even from someone from 2012. He's insane. I'm surprised even though they isolate the security breach and figure out that it's Suki, that they don't, like, see these three people asking questions and stuff and thinking, I don't remember planning an inspection or anything, but we won't quibble too much with details like that. Say my name, say my name. Sorry. She is so good at pretending like she cares, like, props to her. I love Peter Capaldi's Doctor, like, the episodes are terrible, but I love his Doctor, but I do miss the attitude of I'll hug anyone. I do like that. He is so full of shit. Like, when I was younger, I thought that he decides to do this as he's sitting around, but he has his plan, he has it in his head, he knows what he's gonna do. Ugh. Oh, I was about to say a really bad word. I don't watch this episode often, it's not one I think about often, and just seeing his smug smirk, oh my god, I want to punch him. Yeah, not coming back, that's absolutely normal. I shouldn't question that at all. Look at this badass. Like, she's not even afraid. Oh. Rip, man, rip. Oh. It hits a bit hard. It hits too hard. It's too true. I know Adam's supposed to be a cautionary tale about human greed and stuff like that, and not everyone is able to travel in time and space because a lot of people would abuse the power. I know it's supposed to be a cautionary tale, but man, he pisses me off. I really hate him. I suppose you're not supposed to like him, but still, like, oh.
There's no aliens on board, why? I don't know, no real reason. They're not banned or anything. Then why don't they?
I suppose immigration's tightened up. It's had to, what with all the threats.
What threats?
I don't know. All of them, usual stuff.
This went right over my head as a kid. Right over my head.
So that lot's not coming, you see.
Don't be raised.
This poor dog. This poor dog gets traumatized. This is why I don't like Adam. He traumatizes the dog as well. All of this just to get information ahead of time. Like, he puts a door in his head that you can see his brain and basically ruins the rest of his life just so that he can get money.
The Martian boondocks, typical.
It's always Mars. I always thought it looked like a stick of gum. Just ask for the small chip. Oh. Question, what would everyone use if they had this thing? Like, what would they use to trigger it to open? I try to think of something that, like, no one will ever say, especially if I got dumped back home like Adam ends up being, but I can't think of, like, what is the most unlikely thing for people to say so that it doesn't happen? This feels worse than actually being sick as well. Like, I don't like it. I'll probably keep saying this, but I do miss this Rose where she cares about people. It feels like it kind of loses itself a bit in series 2. Thank you, subtitles, for the girl. Oh. Mmm. Tasty.
Humanity's guiding light, the mighty Jaguar-Fest of the Holy Handed Catholic Excellence. I call him Max.
Imagine saying that twice.
Well, now, there's an interesting point. Is a slave a slave? He doesn't know he's enslaved. Yes. Oh, I was hoping for a philosophical debate. Is that all I'm gonna get? Yeah. Yes.
The Doctor does not have time for his bullshit.
You'll find out how much fun I am. Well, of course they're not.
Poor Kathica. Like, this is her whole life, her job, everything just getting ripped to shreds.
Very well.
Oh. It's always money! Oh. Oh, Adam! Go home! Is the Jaguar-Fest, like, slobbering, like, right on top of them? Because I saw some drool there. That's disgusting. Bite him, Rose. Bite him. Oh, would you look at that? It's the consequences of my own actions. You leave him alone for, like, what has it been? Like, half an hour? And he gets a hole in his fucking head. I mean, technically they could have just, like, killed the Doctor and took the key from his pocket. Like, this is unnecessary. Go on, Kathica. Go on, love. Go on, Suki! He's not my friend either. He's nobody's friend. I'm surprised he'd have any friends when he gets home.
Always have the best, isn't it? You know, it's not actually my fault, because you were in charge of.
What are you, a baby? Are you a child? A little toddler baby who can't look after himself? Asshole. It's kind of ironic that he's saying this and they have a similar argument in the next episode, Father's Day. He even tried to abandon his mum once his mum knew he was there. Oh, I hate him. I just quickly want to say before we get into my rewatch of Father's Day, thank you for helping me surpass 500 subscribers. It's not exactly ultimate TikTok fame or anything, but I've never had 500 of anything in my life, so it's kind of a big deal for me. So thank you, all of you, for joining in for my rewatches and my dumb little Doctor Who sketches. Like, I'm glad I can, like, make some of you laugh even a little bit, so thank you for that, and let's get on to the rewatch of Father's Day. It was mentioned to me in my rewatch of The Long Game by the user Scottish Crow that Adam's reasoning for what he did in that episode was supposed to be fueled by his father somehow. They didn't really say how. It was like a deleted plot line where, like, there was something up with his dad and that's why he did what he did. Possibly he was ill and they needed money and that's why he was sending the information back. And in him doing that, that's what then gets Rose thinking about her father for this episode. I'm glad they didn't do that because I don't think villains or bad characters necessarily need to have a sad backstory all the time, although it would have made then sense on how this continued on to Rose suddenly thinking about her father. But all in all, I'm glad that they didn't go with that for that episode, just because I don't think everyone needs a sad backstory to be an asshole. Just forewarning, a clip of like near the end of this episode came up on my TikTok feed and I was sobbing, like just from the scene. So I don't know how I'm gonna end up during this rewatch, but we'll find out. Father's Day, let's go.
Peter, Alan, Tyler, take you, Jacqueline, Suzanne, Anita.
Oh my god. I mean, I know they really, like, this is very, like even Rose's face here already, she's starting to see that it's not, like, what her mother painted it to be. And I think that's an interesting theme throughout this episode. When people die, you don't hear about this kind of stuff. It's just, there's a lot of interesting topics that get hit on in this episode. I really do think the Doctor should have known better here. I know he was trying to do what she wanted, but I feel like he's smarter than this. I mean, Rose is still completely at fault as well. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that soon. I'm not blaming her, because anyone would do what she did in that situation. But I feel like the Doctor, he should have known. Like, come on, like really. Funnily enough, 1987 was the year my granddad Malachi passed away. I never thought about that before. Funny how things kind of connect up. Never got to meet my granddad Malachi either. Really connects up. Really strange. This is gonna be a hard episode, I can already tell. I'm kind of having to, like, swallow, like, I can feel my emotions kind of, like, trying to force its way up, but I'm having to swallow it. Remember how I said the Doctor should have known better? He should have known even better for this shit that they're about to do. Like, this is just ridiculous. I remember I said in my other part that Rose is wrong for doing this, and, like, she is, because we see what happens because she did this, but, like, anyone would have done it. Like, I remember being angry as a kid, like, oh my god, how could she be so stupid, blah 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 blah, but, like, any child, who was about to see their dad get run over, they would have done something. Something I've noticed is that, because I got asked a question about whether I thought the Reapers would come back again, and my problem is that Doctor Who stopped caring about messing with time very quickly, so I don't think there would be a point when the Reapers would show up. Like, if there were a time for the Reapers to show up, it would have been, like, in the waters of Mars or something, when they mess with a fixed point. But they didn't, so I think they ditched that idea very quickly, unfortunately. But I do kind of miss that kind of, like, that kind of weight, that kind of importance, that you don't mess with time, because there is consequences, but that's just me.
I said travel with me in space, you said no. Then I said time machine.
It wasn't some big plan.
I can see where he thought this, but I feel like the Doctor needed to kind of admit his own kind of stupidity in this matter. Like, he didn't do anything. He did trust her not to do something stupid, but I feel like he should have been smarter than this. Like, taking a girl to see her dad get hit by a car and not think that she wasn't going to do something, if that makes sense.
There's a man alive in the world who wasn't alive before. An ordinary man. That's the most important thing in creation. The whole world's different because he's alive.
I love this in Doctor Who. Every person is important. Everyone makes a difference.
You'll be back in a minute.
Okay, that's mean.
Waiting for me. And I'll make you wait a little.
I was, like, so upset because my birthday's in August, so a Reaper was what was on my birthday month on the Doctor Who calendar for 2006, and I thought it was the most, like, I could have gotten something better. I remember being so annoyed.
I was going to have a year.
Stop! Right there.
Oh.
Just saying.
It's like the Bermuda Triangle.
Blimey, you know how to flatter a bloke. They've been seen for a bit. Dad.
What? Like, excuse me? This, folks, is a little glimpse into what the TARDIS actually looks like that sits on the street. What do you mean it's not bigger on the inside in reality? You just broke my entire imagination. I feel bad for Rose here. Nothing is ever like the image that people will build for you when you're dead, and I'm not saying that that's a bad thing, but it's not the same as knowing the person when they were alive, if that makes sense, and it must hurt even more when it's your dad.
That used to freak me out as a kid, like just that audio. Bro, I'm not even sad that you die. Jackie is an icon, even in 1987. Don't act like that's weird. Some people call their teacher's mum by accident. I feel so bad for her here. Like it's like the worst thing to find out, particularly when like your mum spoke so highly of him. Isn't the wedding supposed to be started? Started by now? Why is Mickey being pushed on a swing when they're late? Like, why? Oh, her smug smirk. Oh, you stupid girl.
Jackie Tyler, do as I say. Go and check the doors.
Okay, like, I love Jackie, but that was kind of iconic. Give Pete his dues. I think he caught on pretty quick about what the thing was that had been done. Like, I think he knew as soon as he heard her say that. Oh god, that's like that poem, like, baby shoes never worn. It says a lot for how much the Doctor cares that he doesn't, like, just break this to Pete, like, immediately. Like, he tries to find a way to fix this without having to sacrifice him. This man is smart. Say what you will about him, he's smart. Crap. Trying to hold on here, guys. I'm trying really hard.
And I know we're not important.
Who said you're not important? I've travelled to all sorts of places, done things you couldn't even imagine, but you two. Street corner, 2 in the morning, getting a taxi home. I've never had a life like that.
This is why this character, the Doctor, means everything to me. Everything. It's like all the people you hear now saying that they've come from the future. Like, most of them have been wrong in their predictions, but it's kind of just like, would we actually believe it? Because I never do. I just kind of be like, oh, they're talking shite. This is just kind of weird that they imply that the child is, like, attached. Child Mickey is attached to her just because what they date in the future. I don't get what was supposed to be implied here. My mum always picks stuff out, and she was immediately like, that baby's eyes are different. And I was like, well done, Mum. Do you want a piece of cake or something? I don't know. Does Amy ever touch Amelia? I'm pretty sure they do. But, you know, Matt Smith's era kind of throws rules to the wind, so I shouldn't really be thinking about that. What? Oh, I mean, he's both being dicks, but I feel like she should have apologized first, but whatever. Oh, it's like when the one person who keeps stuff together, like keeps himself together all the time, and then all of a sudden they're saying that they don't know what to do, or they're a bit worried, then all of a sudden you're like, oh my god, we are actually in a really bad situation here if they're worried. I'm sorry for breaking time. Oh, one of the rare times he's not wearing a jacket, and it's weird, it looks weird. It's like his costume is like a part of him, and seeing just like a little bit of it taken away, it's just so strange. Big ups to all of these people in this church pretending that they have even an iota of an idea of what's going on right now. Like, it's 1987 and they're being told all this technical jargon and they're just going with it. I know no one probably cares, but like my dad used to tell me and my sister bedtime stories, but he used to always tell us like funny versions. Like he would say like Goldilocks and the 3 like zebras, and we'd be like, no Dad, it's Goldilocks and the 3 bears. I just love like the Doctor just be like, oh, for God's sake. No, she said Rose, he said Rose earlier, Jackie, so don't pretend you didn't know her name was Rose anyway. Oh my god, this always frustrates me. Don't do it! Why would you take the baby? My god, I know it was like very sudden, but why? Oh, it's just so like, this is shocking. Like, it being like, oh my god, it got him, he's gone. That kind of thing, you know? Like, as a kid, I was baffled. Like you don't expect it. Like, you expect something to like swoop in and like, you know, stop it or save it, you know? But it's like, nope, he's gone. I mean, you really should have said no to the baby. Like, really. Like, I know it was sudden, but like, really, come on now. Thank you, Deirdre. Thank you for that. Guys, this is where it starts getting emotional, so like, I don't take any responsibility if you hear me crying or whimpering or anything. It's just, you're just gonna have to deal with it, okay? Like, this is just, like, if it happens, it happens. I can't control it. we need to talk about, like, Billie Piper here for a second. Like, she started off as a singer, but she is a phenomenal actress. I remember her saying on a podcast with David Tennant that, like, she wanted to be an actress first, and the singing thing just happened. And, like, she's so good. Like, so good. Oh, I'm really struggling, guys. Like, I'm trying my best to kind of keep it down, but this is why series 1 is my favourite. Like, the in-between episodes, usually, they don't mean a lot. Like, they're not supposed to, like, be big, like, emotional things, but, like, it gets me. Particularly death and parents and everything. It's an issue very close to my heart, so that's why it kind of gets me. Like, it's personal to me. But, you know, it's gonna be difficult. Oh god, I'm sorry, guys. Billie Piper, man, like, she's done great things since leaving Doctor Who. But, like, even for her first, like, acting role, like, phenomenal. Just phenomenal. Such a brave man. Like, amazing. Like, it's not amazing that he did this, but the courage that it would have taken, oh my god. This next shot always gets me too, like, how he just, like, comes back. If you can hear sniffling, mind your business. He wasn't on his own. My dog heard me crying and came to sit on my knee. I'm quiet. So quiet. Oh, there's his dad. I never noticed that before his dad came out. It's kind of sad that Jackie probably was led to believe now that he you know, tried to end his life, you know what I mean? Like, that's probably what she was left thinking now, because he just ran out.
My dad, the most wonderful man in the world. 7th of November, 1987.
Love that ending shot. Didn't cry as much as I was expecting, thank god. Like, I was, like, they were, like, streaming down my face when the clip came up on my TikTok, and I thought it was going to be hard doing this rewatch, but thankfully I got through it. Empty Child and the Doctor Dances is next, which probably will have me crying as well, because we all know that episode is just, like, peak Doctor Who, so we'll have to see when that one comes out how I'm going to be reacting to, but thankfully got through it. Easy enough. Sorry for the sniffling and the whimpering if you could hear it, but I warned you, like, I warned you. And that was part 2 of my reactions. By the looks of it, there's either going to be 3 or 4 parts to this series, but I'm not going to say anything definitively just yet. Anyway, I'm not going to spend my whole time talking here because, like I say, I've already tried to get this uploaded and my phone is going to explode if I keep working it this hard. So if you want to see the whole rewatch series, it's on my TikTok again. Another reminder, Erinella98. There's links down below to all of my socials. Pre-order my book on Kindle if you want. Don't do any of that if you don't want to. I don't want you there if you don't want to be there. And remember, enjoy Doctor Who no matter what age you are or when you started. If you're wondering, if you think that's come out of the blue or you think that's a bit random, go over to the comments of the other video and you'll see.
Thank you.